Hey everyone, and welcome back to Chat Like a Native. Sometimes you just want to sound like, a native English speaker.
Absolutely.
And even if you've been learning English for a while, sometimes it's those little phrases, those idioms that really trip you up.
They can make a huge difference. Sure.
Huge. Like you can know all the grammar and have this massive vocabulary, but then you use the wrong idiom and it's like, wait, what?
Exactly. And you just don't sound quite as natural or as confident. So what are we going to be looking at today to help our listeners out with this?
Well, we're going to break down 5 super common idioms that native speakers use all the time in everyday chats. And the best part, we'll give you some handy tips on how to actually use them in your own conversations, confidently.
I like it. Helping our listeners to break the ice, so to speak, when it comes to idioms.
Oh, see, you already snuck one in there.
All
Break
right.
the ice. I love it. Let's start with that one. Break the ice.
All right. So imagine you walk into a party or a meeting or even just a new online English class, and it's super quiet. Totally awkward. Everyone's kind of standing around, not really talking. This is where breaking the ice comes in handy. It means doing something, anything really, to ease that tension and get people chatting.
So it's not about actually smashing a block of ice, like with a hammer?
No hammers required, though that would definitely get people's attention. Maybe not in a good way, though.
Maybe not. So what are some real-life examples of how you'd use break the ice in a sentence?
Okay, you could say, the teacher told a funny joke to break the ice at the start of class. Or, I brought some snacks to break the ice at the meeting.
Ah, food always helps, doesn't it? And is there a way to kind of picture this in your head, to help you remember it?
Totally. Think of that awkward silence as a big block of ice. And then someone tells a joke, or you start a fun activity, and it's like you're cracking that ice.
And then the conversation starts flowing.
Exactly. The conversation starts flowing, and everyone feels a little bit more relaxed.
That's a great image. Now, what happens after you've broken the ice, you're feeling a little bit more comfortable, maybe you want to chat with someone?
Right, and this is where shoot the breeze comes in. It means having a relaxed, casual conversation. Just chatting about anything and everything.
It's like just hanging out, with friends, family, colleagues, whoever.
Yeah, exactly. No pressure, no serious topics. It's the kind of chat you have when you're just like relaxing on the porch swing.
So if someone says, hey, let's shoot the breeze, they're not talking about firing guns.
Definitely not. I mean, unless they're talking about like an old Western movie or something.
All right, good to know. So how might you use shoot the breeze in a sentence?
You could say something like, we spent the whole afternoon just shooting the breeze about our favorite movies. Or, I caught up with an old friend and we shot the breeze for hours.
It sounds so relaxing.
Right. Like imagine a gentle breeze and the words are just kind of floating on it. No rush, no stress, just enjoying the conversation.
That's a lovely image. But let's be real. Sometimes we don't have all day to just chat.
True. Sometimes you got to get to the point.
Exactly. And in those situations, you might want to,
Cut to the chase.
Yes. Cut to the chase. Tell me more about that one.
All right. So imagine you're in a meeting and everyone's going on and on about all these minor details.
And you're like, come on, people. We've got stuff to do.
Exactly. You just want to get to the main point, the most important information. That's when you cut to the chase.
Okay, so give me some examples of how you might actually use cut to the chase in a sentence.
You could say something like, look, I know you're busy, so let me cut to the chase. Here's what we need to decide.
Direct and efficient. I like it.
Right. Or imagine you're telling a friend a story, but they're in a hurry. You could say, to cut to the chase, I ended up winning the competition.
Boom. Straight to the good part.
Exactly. So any ideas on how to remember this idiom?
For me, I think of a movie, like, the scenes where they cut out all the boring stuff and jump straight to the action?
Ah, I like that.
That's cut to the chase.
Perfect. Skipping the fluff and getting straight to the good stuff. Now, how about something a little bit more, secretive?
Ooh, I like where this is going.
You ready to spill the beans?
I think I am. What does that even mean?
All right, spill the beans means to reveal a secret, to let some confidential information slip.
Like when you accidentally tell someone about a surprise party.
Exactly. Or, when you're dying to know something and you're begging your friend to tell you.
Come on, spill the beans. I gotta know.
Haha, exactly like that.
Okay, this idiom is so fun. It makes me think of like a bag of beans literally spilling everywhere.
I see that. Like once those beans are spilled, you can't really put them back in the bag, can you?
Nope. The secret's out.
So how would you use this in a conversation?
Well, let's say you're planning a trip and you want to keep it a surprise. You could say, don't spill the beans to anyone. Okay. It's a secret.
Exactly. Or let's say someone looks super excited and you're like, come on, spill the beans. What happened?
Well, that's good. And it doesn't always have to be a big dramatic secret.
Right. It could just be something small, like spill the beans. What did you get for your birthday?
Okay, I'm loving all these idioms. But before we wrap up, we've got one more to cover.
Right. And this one's perfect for summarizing things quickly and concisely.
I have a feeling I know what it is.
In a nutshell.
You got it. In a nutshell. What does it mean, and how can our listeners use it?
Well, let's say you've been having this long, detailed conversation. Maybe you're explaining a project or giving someone directions or just telling a story.
Right.
And you want to sum it all up in a short, simple way.
So basically you're saying here's the main point.
Precisely. You could say something like, in a nutshell, we need to increase sales by 15% this quarter.
Straightforward and to the point.
Or you could say, in a nutshell, the movie was about a group of friends who go on an adventure.
So it's like taking all that information and condensing it into this tiny little package.
Exactly. A nutshell, right. It's all about being concise and getting to the heart of the matter.
Okay, I think our listeners are going to have so much fun using these idioms in their everyday conversations. They really do make a big difference.
Absolutely. These are the kinds of phrases that native speakers use all the time without even thinking about it. So the more you can incorporate them into your own speech, the more natural and confident you'll sound.
It's like adding that extra layer of authenticity to your English.
Yeah.
Like you're not just speaking the language, you're really living it.
I love that. Living the language.
So listeners, remember, break the ice, shoot the breeze, cut to the chase, spill the beans, and of course, in a nutshell.
These are your secret weapons for leveling up your conversational English.
They're fun, they're expressive, and they'll definitely make you sound more like a native speaker.
Now, a little word of advice. Don't be afraid to experiment with these idioms, but make sure you understand their meanings and use them in the right context.
All right, you don't want to be spilling the beans at a job interview or, telling your boss to cut to the chase when they're trying to explain something important.
Context is key. But honestly, the more you practice, the more natural it'll become.
And the more fun you'll have with English. So that's it for this deep dive into idioms. We hope you found it helpful, and we can't wait to have you back for more tips on how to chat like a native.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and happy chatting.
Bye for now.
See you next time.